How long does anxiety recovery take? Dennis, I'm putting in the time. I'm learning as much as I can. When will all of this end? Today, we're going to dive deep into this question and find answers, my friends. Welcome to another important video on my channel. If you want to learn more about any of my anxiety recovery programs, head over here and let's dive deep into this. And I hope you don't get distracted by this little mouse looking thingy over here trying to improve the audio. It's about how long anxiety recovery takes. Now, let me start with my own personal experience, okay? So I got to the point in my anxiety recovery where I was no longer doing things in order to get rid of something. Okay, that's one of the traps that I was falling into, and maybe you're falling into as well. Where, okay, I'm going to learn this thing, and hopefully I run into the Holy Grail, and it triggers something within my mind and body, and all these symptoms and intrusive ideas go away. Or I'm going to do this 3-minute meditation so that all of these accumulated stresses and traumas from all of these years go away just like that. And if they don't, then I'm going to deem that meditation as something that does not work for me. Yada, yada, yada. Exposure therapy, CBT, NLP, psychic healers, energy healers, you name it. I've been there. Now, I got to the point where I realized that it wasn't about me getting rid of anything. It was about me progressively eliminating the fear in connection to those anxiety symptoms, in connection to the intrusive ideas, in connection with the negative emotional states, yada, yada, yada. I needed to understand that I needed to lessen the fear, okay? And as I lessen the fear, all of those elements of anxiety would slowly start to subside and go away because there was no longer a reason for them to be there. Very, very powerful. Now, for me, once I got the mindset right and I wasn't running around like a chicken trying to figure this thing out and asking a million questions to everybody, trying to gain reassurance, trying to survive the day and trying to become functional, when I stopped trying to do so much and focused in on just this idea of beginning to eliminate the fear in connection to the elements of my anxiety, I started to realize that within a 3-month period, I started to see results. Within that 3-month period, I started to realize that my body was starting to catch up to this mindset. And my body started to feel like it could release itself of the tension, right? And the tension was based on this protective defense mechanism to keep me within my comfort zones, yes. And the tension became habitual, yes. And the tension was related to accumulated stress from all these years, yes. And once the fear started dissipating around that 3-month mark, the symptoms started going away, slowly, gradually. The intrusive ideas were no longer bothersome. Notice that I'm saying that they're no longer bothersome and they didn't go away. I wasn't focused on anything going away. I was looking to build a better relationship with all of the elements of anxiety. And this was the magic that took me from anxiety to actual recovery, my friends. So within a 3-month period, I started to see results, okay? I started to see results. And within about 6 months, I could say that I was completely free of all of the elements of anxiety, mind and body. And so this also depends on a number of factors, okay? Not everybody's going to get the same results as me, and it depends on a number of factors. And I want you to understand these factors at a very deep level and go, okay, that relates to me very, very much. First factor is how quickly you accept that you are the cause of all of it and you are also the solution. During my anxiety, I was going around everywhere trying to take every supplement, looking for the next magic herb, doing IV therapies, doing stretch sessions, doing yoga, doing this, doing that. I was a doer. I was stuck in doership. And as long as I was stuck in doership, I wasn't going to heal the anxious mind with an anxious mind. And this was very, very powerful because first the mind needs to take over and the body starts to catch up eventually, right? So you need to accept that you are the cause of all this, okay? It's not your parents from way back in the day. It's not your friends. It's not that one experience that triggered everything. It's what happened within you, okay? It's what happened within you in those very moments. So you are the cause of it, and you are also the solution. Now, the moment you accept this, it's going to feel quite lonely, going, okay, well, I'm not supposed to rely on anything external to heal my anxiety. Not necessarily. You can gather support from other people, but you cannot be reliant on anything external to heal what's going on the inside. This is the difference. This is a huge factor in how long your anxiety recovery will take. Second thing is how persistent you are with your inner work. And I want to go deep into what that inner work is today, but you have to be persistent, okay? You have to approach this as if it's your new life. You're not doing something in order to get rid of something anymore. This is how you live your life from now on, because your system cannot keep up with the demands that you've placed on it mentally, emotionally, and physically as you've been doing up to this point. So you need to live a new life. Now, when we mean the inner work, I'm talking about how quickly you overturn your perceptions of threat. Okay, so how quickly you overturn your perceptions of threat. When I was going through my anxiety and I had a trigger moment, or I had a moment where my symptoms were becoming very heightened, right? I had flare-ups and such. I would always look at those experiences being bad, right? Oh God, I have anxiety now, and this is a bad thing. Well, I got to the point where I realized that in that very moment, I had a choice. I could actually decide what this particular experience, this situation meant. And if I can unconsciously perceive something as being dangerous and threatening, I could also perceive it as being safe and neutral. And so how quickly you overturn your perceptions of threat is part of the inner work, okay? Also, how often you project safety and progress physiologically with your body. You know, when I work with people through my programs and doing sessions with them, I go to the body before I go to the mind, because I'm not going to allow these people who are struggling to get into a tug of war between their unconscious and conscious minds. If we go to the body and focus on our breathing, we focus on our posture, and we focus on modeling people that we look up to, then what's going to happen once we model those people that we look up to, we are going to begin taking on some of their characteristic traits. We are going to start taking on their perceptions and their belief systems, and this is powerful. So how often you project safety and progress physiologically. Remember, it doesn't matter how you feel, it doesn't matter what's going on in your mind, your physiology can override those things when you start to project progress, when you start to project empowerment and safety, right? So you want to focus on what's going on with your body on a regular basis. And also, if you have cleared out suppressed negative kind of energy within mind and body, so if you've done the clearing work, it becomes more difficult for a person to overturn an old negative belief system the longer it's been in place. So it's more difficult to do this through conscious work. And if you're gonna if you've been suffering for a long time and you're still applying the same tools and you're not getting those same results, you may need to start looking into clearing work, emotional reframing work right here that will help you to reframe past situations and relationships at a subconscious level, get you into an alpha, get you into a delta brainwave state so that you can communicate with your subconscious mind and get the security guard within your mind, known as the critical factor, out of the way. That security guard is trying to prevent any kind of new ideas and belief systems from entering in. So when you do the deeper work, the clearing work, when you're in an alpha brainwave state and you're going through the emotions, you're going through the pictures in your mind, in that very moment, you are sending the security guard out for lunch, right? And you're going, bye, all right, now we can begin to enter in our new ideas, our new perceptions over these past experiences, and at a physiological level, you will start to see change. So how persistent you are with the inner work will also determine your anxiety recovery time. Also, how quickly you begin identifying with someone other than anxiety. Every single day you wake up, you believe you're an anxiety sufferer, right? And as long as you keep this label around, you're going to keep identifying with all of the elements of anxiety. You're going to go, oh, the worry is connected to anxiety, and because the worry is connected to anxiety, it's like a best friend for me. I kind of want it to go away, but at the same time I don't, because of the familiarity that comes with worry. Mom had it, dad had it, right? I saw it in my authority figures, and therefore for me to get rid of it doesn't really make sense because it's a part of my identity. So you need to start identifying with somebody new. Somebody new. I don't even care if you go watch movies and shows based on Alexander the Great. And you're looking at Alexander the Great, and he's absolutely, yes, he's feeling fear on the inside. But externally, there is no fear. He's going past one challenge, then the next challenge, then the next challenge. And of course, I'm not asking you to get on a horse and go start slaying people, right? I'm not asking you to do any kind of dramatic things. I'm asking you to change the way you look at yourself in the mirror and who you identify with. If you begin to say, I am Alexander the Great, what starts to happen? There's no longer anxiety. There's no longer fear. There's no longer worry. Alexander the Great didn't worry about his opponent. Yes, he strategized in order to have the upper hand in those battles and wars, yes. But he didn't worry about his opponents. He wasn't worried about this and that, right? He didn't spend focus and time and energy worrying about these things, right? So you can identify with anybody. You don't have to be the same person you were yesterday, today. You can look in the mirror and say, I am X and I am someone different. And as long as you identify with this new person, mentally, emotionally, physiologically, spiritually, everything starts to change. So that's very important, my friends. Now, we also have to understand that when you're there, when you're finally there, you stop doing anxiety recovery work, okay? And you continue along the process of evolving. When you are no longer fearful of the same things you used to be fearful of, stop doing anxiety recovery work, okay? Because you keep pulling your mind and body back into a place where it has evolved out of. And that's a more than anxiety moment, I must say for myself. So many of you are already in a better place in your life, but because you're so attached to the anxiety recovery work that you've done for so long, you're not giving yourself a chance to move up the next step of that ladder called evolving, okay? Evolving, learning what you need to. You keep learning the same lessons over and over again based on anxiety recovery work instead of inner healing work or whatever you want to call it, right? So in this process of evolution, we need to understand that in order to take the next step on the ladder, at some point you have to stop doing the anxiety recovery work, reading all the books on anxiety, watching all the videos on anxiety. A lot of my content here is focused not so much on anxiety, but more so identity work, getting you to a place where you're so far out of the anxiety recovery work and you're so much more focused on giving back to people, being creative, tapping back into your childlike personality traits, playfulness, curiosity, victoriousness, right? This has nothing to do with anxiety work. This is identity work. So Do not get caught up in so much anxiety recovery work when in fact you've already evolved out of that space, my friends. And if you focus on these factors, I promise you, your anxiety recovery will be supercharged and you're going to get to a place very, very quickly. I love you all from the bottom of my heart, and in the comments section, let me know what the more than anxiety moment was for you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.